And then now to tie in hapa, mulikuwa mnaomba too much.
Kuomba?
Yeah.
Unajua kuomba ni kawaida. In fact, Biblia inatuambia pray without ceasing. You pray without ceasing. One thing that people must understand, religion and politics can never be separated.
Okay.
Dirty politics, yes. There is a difference between dirty politics and religion don't mix.
Okay.
But politics, what is politics? It's governance, good governance. We are talking about building roads. We are talking about good economy. We are talking about providing water. We are talking about having good sewer lines. We are having drainage in a city like this. If we are to say that politics and religion don't mix, what they are trying to tell the preachers is that they should never criticize bad governance. And I think that is not the right thing to do. Okay. And I want to remind them that when we come to religion and politics, it did not even start with us. It started with our God. It started a theocracy where everybody was ruled by God. And God was the minister for health. He even, if you go to Leviticus, he used to tell people how the women would deal with menses. He would tell people how to clean their houses, how you would deal with the skin, leather that you are using. He was the one who was healing his people. He led them. Until people wanted to become like any other person to be ruled by men. But if you look apart from Africa, religion and politics go together. Go to the United Arab Emirates and go to the Muslim world. There is no boundary between religion and politics. Okay. You go to the Vatican City where the Catholic where the Catholic Pope stays. He's a politician come the religious leader. Okay. It is only here, if you go to India, same thing. You find that the politics, but the politics we are talking about is dirty politics. You know, many people believe that politics is dirty, but it needs to be cleaned. Because if politics cannot be able to answer to the call of people, when people are hungry, it cannot be able to answer to the people's when they need the help of government. They cannot answer to that corruption, compromise. Then what are we talking about? Then there must be somebody who is going to tell them this is wrong. And that is where now you find religion is told you sit aside as corruption continues. And people have issues where they kill our children and we are told to keep quiet. It cannot be. And you will be surprised that from now on, you find all the same politicians who tell us you don't need to mix the religion. They are ever in churches. Why are they there? If they don't mix, you will find them Sundays, they come there. They are human beings with a spirit. There is no man who is made up without a spirit. And the spirituality of man is what makes the difference. Because when a man decides from the inside, things change. I told you the other day that we introduced in our rehabilitation something that was called spiritual. And that's why we must allow people to connect with their spirit. My boys would actually make a decision. A decision is not made in the physical world. It's actually made inside the mental, the person, the spirit person. Once he's convinced he needs to change, that is what changes things. And that is what we are saying. There is no way you would have a government without conscience. And the conscience of a government is planted in the spirit. Because you know in your conscience this is wrong. You know killing is wrong. It's morality. It is the decency of government and governance. And if we can do something about it, then I beg to differ with many that when I want a good road, or I want good education system, I want a good health system, then I'm told I am a politician. You tell me, I am a pastor and now I'm reverend. I've been watching myself and I never got to sleep in heaven and come in the morning. The challenges that face any other person faces the Christians. It faces the Muslim. It also affects the Hindus. It affects every person. And therefore, to separate and say that morality of a people and the conscience of the people must be blocked so that we can say government or religion and politics don't mix, I think it is the wrong thing to do and the wrong way to go. So politics will never be separated from religion, because what are we saying? Does it mean that now that the Christians or the Muslim will be passing or buying things less? They have to say, if taxes are high, we tell you they are high. That is not politics. It's a way of life. And religion is actually a way of life. It is like the way you breathe air. It is dictated by the manner of principles that follow for good life. And therefore, when you tell me that we cannot speak these principles to the people who are in government and tell them this thing is hurting the people, that is called politics in this country. We tell them, like now, people died in this Nairobi. Do you know how many people are going to be buried? Because somebody somewhere is not doing their work. But when you talk to them, they say you are playing politics. Politics and life, you cannot joke around. And I think it is time that people knew good governance is actually religion.
Yes. You know, most people have this issue of, even myself, politicians hiding in religion. And we ask, is it legitimate? Are they being real? Like you see a politician who has very questionable character, and you see them in church, and they're like, why are you hiding in church, or why are you pretending? I'm like, hey, kama unaomba ukweli, kwani unaomba Mungu mgani huyo? So you look at their behaviors, you look at whatever religion they're going to, you're like, hapa hivi kuna shida. Then also this thing for, they go for a church service, then now they start doing politics in the church. You're like, now this is the house of God. Why can't we do it outside? So there's that confusion as well. What do you think around that? Now,
having served in the church, one thing I know, that's why we say there is no difference between an individual, the way they express themselves. In fact, the church is a hospital. Every person must come to the church. It is the church that transforms the people. Even the bad ones. If you hear the testimonies of the people who followed Jesus, like Paul, who was Saul before, he was a murderer. But when he got to meet Jesus, things changed. And he became the person who was now serving the people and wrote two-thirds of the Bible, the New Testament. Same person, transformed. But you must understand there is nobody who can stop you from going to the house of God. It is not the house of the pastor. It is not the house of the bishop. It is the home of everybody. And that's why we tell even our children, when we go out there and we find them in the street, you have heard I told them, run to the church, run to the mosque. Why? Because that is where they can be understood. But if we were to say the house of God is for the holy people, then what are we saying? If it is for the righteous, then we close them, because the righteous are already going to heaven. We need the people who need to come and start to understand the difference between what God wants and what they are doing. Even you, when you are Christian and you go to politics, would you want us to come and chase you away now that you have entered politics? The other thing is you need a place where you can be invited. In fact, church should be a place where every sinner comes, where a prostitute comes and is transformed and he is loved, where a drunk enters and they are treated the same. That is what religion is all about.
Okay.
But the religious, for the righteous, that one, I think it is another level, and maybe we need to discuss. The altar cannot be discredited by a person who comes. Actually, it is the opposite. When a bad person comes to the altar has a way of changing them.
Okay. I've seen some who the altar is struggling to change. Now, let's go to this story for when you left the banking. Then you started now the ministry part. Then you said you started some biasharas. That is where we are, the jumbo seats. That is where we are before the microphone started.
Mat.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was making the seats out there, and my husband was working in still in government. So he would come, he would help me to remove the seats and go. He comes again in the evening. And then one day when I'm just sitting there, Mzungu comes. He was MD for Uchumi. And he came and said, you know, I'd like to partner with you. And I was looking for the person he was talking about, because we are having a few seats there, and we are marking the Juakari one and all that. Yeah. And so he said, yes, we want to give you space in the supermarket where you come, you display these seats, and when they are bought, we share commission of 5%. I will not ask you for rent and everything.
Or they take 5%?
Yes. And you know, that's how now the Rido Furniture Mart became big, and we were in all chumis and everything. And God helped me I say God is always on my side, because when now we were able to put them there, I didn't need to worry about the Kanjo coming to demolish my structures. They had done many times, but now they were in a safe place and would sell, and I was able to do my ministry. Yeah.
So viti zinajiuza huku?
Yeah.
Wewe unaendelea kupiga ministry huku?
Yes.
Oh, so umeuza viti, that's interesting.
Yeah.
For
many years. For many years. You tell me.
Umesema material ukiguza hivi umejua hii.
I would know the fake and the real.
Unaenda kununua nafikiria ujui kumbe unapima kala hii material hizi hard.
Hata siku hizi wananipigia kuniuliza kama I can repair. There are some people I sold almost 20 years ago and they still call, but I refer them to some of the people who worked for me because I helped them to start their own. Okay. And so we have like farmers and all those ones. If you go there, you'll find the people who actually did the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then this went on, business hapa kule nini. 2011, you ordained as a pastor.
2011, I was ordained as a pastor.
Yes.
I used to be from House of Grace. I started as a Nasha. I became an elder there. And one day, my bishop comes and tells me, why do you always refuse to answer the call of God? I said, which call? I'm okay with what I'm doing. He said, God has called you to ministry. And for you to be able to do all these things you do, the widows and everything, God has called you into real ministry. And that's how we became, I agreed. I had refused, actually. So he told me to go and ask my mom. My mom was alive then. And ask my mom. And I asked my husband and children what they think about it. Whatever answer they will give me, I'll know whether God has called me. So I went to my mom. When I told her what, she just fell down and started crying. I didn't understand what her problem was. She said, I've been praying that there be a priest in my house for many years. This is what I've been waiting for. If only I can die now, I'm okay. That I would leave somebody. Then I came, of course, to my husband and my children. They said, why would anybody ask you? The church stole you from us a long time ago. And that's how we went again. And I was ordained in 2011. Okay. And the rest is history.
Kuna picha tuko nayo umevaa skati ya blue, nafanya crusade peke yako, muko wawili tu hapo, hiyo soko ni kama haina watu.
Why is that now?
You've not seen that picture? Ile inakuwa the video ulikuwa umeiweka tena kuna kadile ikikuja na muonyesha.
I can remember maybe that one was a place in Joro. After I would attend to the widows, I would go to a cruise. Yes.
Hapo umesema neno na isoko yenyu mvua ni kama imenyesha.
No, watu wako pande ile ingine. Nafikiri huyu photographer hakunifanya justice. I'll look for him.
Huyu bishop mwenzako hapo kanda yako pia ni kama anapepea ni kama anataka kwenda.
Huyu anafanya, nilikuwa nahubiri na Kiingereza na yeye anaongea na Kikuyu huyo.
Oh.
Yes.
Bwana Yesu, Jesus said, Yesu ne
Yesu ne gai.
Have you had some very amazing moments in the ministry that you remember that like where this something unique happened or weird in the ministry?
Yeah.
Maybe one?
Quite a number.
Okay.
One is during that time, and I was very passionate about crusades.
Okay.
So I decided to go to Mwingi.
Okay.
And the bishop for that church, it's a full gospel church, he's Red Karianjahi. He said, we would have to fast for where you're going, the place you have chosen. You have to fast for 21 days. Yeah. Then we go and preach.
Why?
The place is a hard place to preach.
Oh.
So, and I was too young in the ministry. So he didn't, when I said Mwingi, he thought I should have started a lesser place. Okay. So we decided to go to Mwingi. I spoke to my husband. He had a truck, a soundtrack. So he gave me his Mercedes, and we went there. We were going for 9 days. So I thought it was a joyride. We go there and they will preach and all that. Then I found I was to do 3 services in the lunchtime and in the afternoon and revival meeting in the church. All these people, the bishops, were there praying for me, but I had to go and preach. Let me tell you, these sound people you see, they can drive you crazy. So I went there, I was thinking of the way people preach. So I don't know what they did with my sound. I lost my voice. Halfway.
You were shouting a lot.
I think I was shouting.
Receive.
But when we got there, they told me, you have to be very careful. This place is not like any other place. Here there are witches. I don't know, something like this. And
okay.
I said, well, when I got there, I decided, sasa, nimeambiwa ndio nitaongea saa hii. So I took the microphone. I said, either you witches are going to stay here all by self. Okay? There were many people there. I don't know. Something happened. There was a whirlwind. It blew the whole of Mwingi town, and these people are closing the shops. But I tell you, after 9 days, there was great revival there. Many people got healed. Others got saved. And there was a great move of God. Even in my very young in ministry.
Umeenda kudea
za ndio unajua mimi si kufikiria mambo ya witches, mimi nilifikiria ndio tu it's a wind.
The wind just came after you spoke about the witches in Mwingi.
Niliwaambia hao ndio watakaa au mimi, na wanajua mimi siendi.
So ikaanza tu hivyo.
Ilianza tu. That is one of the things really. I sat there after some time. Of course, God did not allow me to even think that was it. I just thought it was a wind from nowhere. So when we had finished, and then that's when the bishops were telling me, you dared. You dared. Then I said, then I knew that the power of God is able to heal. That's what I saw. I saw many. In fact, some of them came and owned up there, and they've got saved.
Mawitch? Walikuja wakasema mimi ni witch?
Yes. There was one man who came and he was lifting his eyes. They were black with whatever. And then, of course, after he got saved, we set him on a business, and he actually, you know, his wives had left him and all that. He was later to call us and tell the wife came back. Oh. I think you men, you need to work very hard. When you get money, they come back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Umai rebuke madimoni zikatoka kwa mtu? Ama performed another miracle?
The miracle that I remember very well, I work with widows. And widows are people who are old, and sometimes they, you know, they just sleep and they die, and it feels very bad because they are my daughters. So this time I was called the whole week. About 5 had died, and they would call me, they are going to hospital, the following day they are dead, the other one is dead. And then one of the youngest widows who had a condition called Mama Mercy. Even today she's alive. If you want to go interview her, they will tell you. She had gone to hospital and she had wounds and everything. The doctors got tired and they told her to go home. And then she was going to die, so they called me and told me, one of your daughters is very sick. We want you to pray. And I was coming from the church on Sunday afternoon. So I asked God, surely, even if you have taken the old ones, now this is a young one. If you take the rest, you just die if they see, like, you know, there is no hope. And I was talking, actually, they had put me on the loudspeaker. I was talking to God. I was very agonized, and I was grieving over my widows who had died. And so I told God, you know, with this one, I must say no. I want you to heal her so that the rest can know there is a God even in their old age and their young age. And this particular one has helped very many. But now here she is. And I heard them saying amen. I was not praying. I was talking to God.
Just conversing, yeah.
The following day, they called me and they told me she was up and about. By the third day, she had not even a single wound. This is something you can go, you can check.
And verify.
And verify. And that gave my faith another turn. And I knew God does not need you go into deep fasting and praying for him to answer a prayer. You just need to believe in what needs to be believed. And that was a turning point. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Kudos.
She's there even today.
Anaendelea vizuri.
Yeah, she's in the choir. She looks beautiful, even not a scratch.
Okay. Last year you also ordained as reverend.
Yes.
What leads to this, and how was that to you as a person?
I think there are levels and dimensions of grace that God bestows upon you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not called to plant churches. I don't have, you know, branches and all that.
Yeah.
When you plant churches and you are in charge of many, you become a bishop. That's how it's supposed to be. But when you go through the ranks and you are commanding that level, because we worship with many, I convene programs, I work with many bishops and pastors. The fathers of faith came and told me, you need to now be elevated to this level of a reverend. The level of a reverend is the level of a bishop, actually. But because I don't have branches, so I'm ordained as a reverend.
Okay.
And that tells you have moved to another level. And the level that God is giving you, it means you also, it means I've gone down to service even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love it?
Yes.
Kazi
I'm serving, kazi imeongezeka.
Yeah.
I'm being humbled to tell God is telling me there is more work to be done.
Okay.
And that's why now I have to increase the programs.
Okay.
I have to go more to the boy child. I have to go more for the people with disabilities. I have to do more and more service.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what it means to be elevated in the kingdom. You are being made a servant. Actually, the more you are taken up, the lower you are taken to service.
Okay.
When Jesus was speaking about the people, how who is a master, he showed them, you go down and wash the feet.